Imagine you're a proud lighthouse, once beaming life and hope across an endless sea, until a hurricane named a narcissist roars in. It doesn't just snuff out your light, it smashes every brick, every piece of your soul, leaving you teetering on the edge of a tidal wave of doubt and pain. Have you been there, lost in a dim theater where the tyrant in charge never gives you a line, just lets you fade into the shadows of their ego? That's the wound no one sees, where their every manipulation cuts like a blade, their every sneer hits like a bullet, making you wonder if you're worth anything at all. But listen up. Here's the American freedom bell ringing through the storm. You are not what they broke. You're an unquenchable fire, buried but never extinguished, and it's time to let it roar back to life. I've been lost in that wreckage, convinced my light was gone for good, but I clawed my way out, fought tooth and nail, and reclaimed myself. Now it's your turn. In this video today, we're tearing through the mess a narcissist left behind, not just to survive, but to rediscover you, the real, unbreakable, radiant you that no one can dim. This isn't some sob story. This is your soul's revolution, a gritty, heart-pounding journey to rise from the ashes and scream, "I am me, and I won't let them steal that again." This is your shot to take back your throne, to rewrite the script they tried to burn. Are you ready to reclaim your fire? Let's roll. Now let's pull back the curtain and stare straight at the one pulling the strings in the shadows, the narcissist. They're not just an annoying sidekick in your story, they're the worst director Hollywood could ever churn out, always shoving you to the edges of the stage while they hog the spotlight. Ever wonder why they do it? It's not because you're weak, it's because they need your light to fuel their hollow ego. Think of them as a twisted puppet master in a chaotic play. They tug the strings with sugary fake words, then snap you in half with mind games, what the pros call gaslighting. It's that moment they look you in the eye after a tear-soaked fight and say, "Babe, I don't know what you're talking about, that never happened." But you know it did. You felt every slash in your heart. They want you to doubt your memory, your feelings, your very existence, just so they can keep you locked in their grip. And don't get it twisted, control is their lifeblood. They don't just want you to fall in line. They want you on your knees, gazing up at them like they're some king on a throne they built from your pain. I had a co-worker like that once, always smiling when he dumped work on me, but the second I pushed back, he'd spin tales to the office about how I was too sensitive and couldn't handle the heat. Truth? He was terrified I'd outshine him, so he twisted everything to keep me under his boot. But carve this into your mind. Narcissists don't have a heart to spare empathy. They're cold machines, wired to drain your energy dry without ever giving a shred back. Just emptiness. Ever tried spilling your hurt to them only to get a blank stare or a dismissive, "Oh, don't make a big deal out of it"? That's not carelessness. It's who they are. They don't care about you. They care about how well you feed their ego. Zoom in closer. They're masters at crafting warped mirrors. They project a distorted image of you, weak, wrong, not good enough, and then trick you into buying their lie. I fell into that trap once. An old best friend kept hammering into me that I was lucky to have them, that no one else would put up with me. I believed it, until one day I stood in front of a mirror and asked, why am I letting them paint who I am? Here's the bitter truth, that's also your power to wield. Narcissists aren't as strong as they strut. They're frail, trembling behind their arrogant mask, terrified of being exposed. That arrogance isn't a crown, it's a wall they throw up to hide the void inside. And once you see through that, they're not the invincible monster you thought. They're just a petty puppet master, desperately clutching at control. So why does this matter in reclaiming you? Because knowing your enemy is the first step to snapping the chains they've bound you with. They're not the lord of this story. You're the one holding the pen. When you realize they're weaker than they seem, you'll spot the door to break free, to step past the pain and toward your own light. This journey isn't about beating them. They're not worth your energy. It's about seeing through them, understanding they don't get to define you. In this land of liberty, you've got the right to stand tall and say, I see who you are, and I'm done playing your game. That's the first move to reclaim your throne, the one they can never touch. Take a moment and look straight at yourself, not through the narcissist's twisted lens, but through your own eyes, the ones that have witnessed silent wars no one else knows. What have you lost on this journey? It's not just time or a few friendships. It's fragments of your very soul, pieces they smashed without a flicker of hesitation. And if you rewind the clock, think back to the old you, the one who dreamed big, who believed the world was a wide open stage for you to shine. What did the narcissist do to those dreams? They trampled them like a relentless vandal, mocked your ambitions, convinced you they weren't worth chasing. Did you once want to write a book, launch a business, or just live free? Only to find those ideas now ash in the dark corners of your mind. Then, there's your confidence. That glow that once had you standing tall, striding forward without fear. They stole it like thieves slipping through the night, planting poisonous whispers. You're not good enough. You'll fail. No one cares about you. I've been there. After a blowout with an ex, wondering if I really was the worthless wreck he claimed. Until I saw he was just projecting his own insecurities onto me. But the losses don't stop there. What about the people who once stood by you? Friends, family, those who could have lifted you up. The narcissist didn't just isolate you, they built invisible walls, sowing lies to turn you into an outcast in your own world. I remember lonely nights, realizing I'd lost touch with loved ones, all because someone convinced me they weren't worth trusting. And the deepest wound might be your dignity, something no one has the right to rip away, yet they did. They shrank you into a smaller version of yourself, someone who bows, apologizes for things you didn't do, and lives in fear of their judgment. I used to say sorry for stuff I didn't cause, just to dodge a roommate's rage, until I realized my dignity was worth more than that counterfeit piece. It gets worse. They didn't just take tangible things. They dimmed the light inside you, the spark that makes you, you. That smile you once wore, the curiosity that drove you to explore, the belief you deserved love, gone. Ever look at old photos and wonder, where'd that person go? I have. It hit me like a punch to the chest, but it also rang the wake-up bell. So here's where we face it. Not to drown in misery, but to see that these losses don't define you. What you've lost isn't the end. It's evidence of a battle you survived. The narcissist may have broken you, but they couldn't destroy your core, the deepest, toughest part, still waiting for you to call it back. Because, listen with all the unyielding strength your heart can summon, this pain is real, but it's not you. It's the fire that forged you, the darkness that taught you to find light. You're not weak for losing, you're badass for standing through the storm. I used to think I was a failure staring at what I'd lost. Then I saw it as proof I'd fought, and I'm still here. In the end, the journey to reclaim yourself starts right here, staring down those scars without flinching, not to blame yourself, but to say, I've lost a lot, but not everything. I've still got me. This isn't the end. It's the launch pad to rebuild, piece by piece, until you rise taller than they ever dreamed. You've seen through the puppet master, faced the pain, now it's time to stake your ground. This isn't about standing still for one more stab from the narcissist. This is about drawing your line, building a steel wall around your soul, and saying flat out, enough. You think you still owe them something, a sorry, another chance, more endurance? No, you don't owe them a damn thing except your own liberation. Start by naming the truth. The first move to seize back control. They were wrong to hurt you, wrong to make you feel small, wrong to think they could trample your worth. Don't let them dodge it with manipulations like, I didn't mean it, or you're overreacting. Stand in front of a mirror, lock eyes with yourself, and say it loud. They're wrong, not me. I did that after a long night of being blamed, and it felt like a jolt of lightning waking me from the sleep of submission. And then you've got to cut the cord. Not just walk away, but sever the strings they use to yank you back. Don't answer those cunning texts. Don't fall into the blame trap they set. Don't let them drag you back into the victim role they scripted. I used to let my phone ring for hours from an old friend who just wanted me to grovel for nothing, until I realized silence was the loudest no I could give. But cutting ties isn't enough. You need to build your wall. Not to shut yourself off, but to guard the sacred ground of your heart and mind. Picture yourself as a fortress, tall, unbreakable, and only those who respect you get through the gate. I learned to say no to a boss who demanded too much, not with a tremble but with a voice like steel. I'm not doing that anymore. They'll flinch, they'll push back, but you'll stand firm. Why does this matter? Because in this country, where freedom is our heartbeat, you've got the right to say enough is enough. The narcissist will try to breach your boundaries, scream that you're selfish, that you owe them loyalty. But here's the truth. You don't owe them your life. They've taken enough. Now you take back the reins. Think of it like a declaration of independence, not with fanfare and fireworks, but with the quiet resolve of a warrior. Every no you say, every time you refuse their game, you're carving your name into your own map. I was terrified to set boundaries with a toxic family member. Scared they'd hate me, scared I'd lose them forever. But when I did, I didn't lose them. I found myself, and when they come crawling back, because they will, with sweet talk or rage, you've got to hold your ground. They're not used to you steering the ship, but this is your vessel, not theirs. I remember an old friend trying to suck me back into familiar drama. I just said, "I'm not playing this anymore," and walked away. They were stunned, but I felt free. This is the power of boundaries. It doesn't just shield you, it defines you. It tells the world you're no longer prey in the narcissist's story. You're the writer, the one who decides who stays and who goes. You don't need to shout to prove it. Your resolve speaks louder than words. In the end, staking your ground isn't selfish, it's you declaring, "I'm worth it." The narcissist wants you to think boundaries are an insult to them, but really, they're the gift you give yourself. In this journey to reclaim you, this is the turning point, where you don't just survive, but start living, head high and heart fearless. You've seen through the puppet master, faced the pain, and staked your ground. Now it's time to tackle the big question. Who are you and what are you worthy of? This isn't about lingering in the narcissist's shadow anymore. This is about stepping into the light, picking up your shattered pieces and rediscovering the real you they could never extinguish. Picture yourself as the hero of this story, not a victim, not a sidekick, but a warrior who's walked through fire to reclaim their crown. What are you worthy of? Peace in your soul, blazing pride, unconditional love, all the things they tried to snatch with their lies and scorn. I used to think I only deserved scraps of affection from a toxic friend, until I realized I was worthy of a whole feast of respect and care. And where does it start? With giving yourself the gifts no one else can hand you. You're worthy of confidence, not hollow arrogance, but a steel belief that you're good enough, strong enough to stand up to anyone. You're worthy of resolve, saying no without trembling, walking away without glancing back at those who drag you down. You're worthy of living, not just scraping by, but truly living, with a fire of passion and an open heart. But how do you reclaim that? This isn't just talk, it's action. Start small. Write down one thing you love about yourself every day, maybe your kindness, your listening ear, or the way you laugh when no one's watching. I did that. Scribbling a line in a notebook each morning, and from those scraps, I started seeing my own light again. Then push further. Try something you once dreamed of but they crushed. Sign up for a painting class, jog at sunrise, or belt out a song in the shower. Anything that makes you feel alive. I was scared to pick up a paintbrush after an ex mocked me, but the day I did, it was like unshackling a piece of myself. Like I was shouting to the world, "I'm still here!" And don't stop there, connect. Seek out people who lift you up, not tear you down. Call an old friend you've lost touch with, join a hobby group, or just smile at a stranger in a coffee shop. I reconnected with a best friend after years apart because of a narcissist, and that first chat was like a cool breeze through my soul. Why does this matter? Because life, with all its beauty and chaos, is your playground to rediscover yourself, not a cage to shrink under someone else's shadow. You don't need permission to shine. It's your birthright, one no narcissist can steal forever. Think of this journey as a rebirth, not from ashes, but from the embers still glowing inside you. Every step, every gift you claim is a hammer blow smashing the chains they once bound you with. I used to fear I'd lost the real me for good, but when I started writing again, painting again, laughing again, I saw they never truly took me. And when doubt creeps in, because it will some days, remember this: you're worthy not because you're perfect, but because you're you. You don't need to prove it to anyone, just live it. I stood in front of a mirror once, asking if I was enough, then decided the answer was yes, and I'd live like it was true. In the end, rediscovering yourself is how you claim victory, not over the narcissist, but for you. This is where you don't just take back what's lost, you build a stronger, brighter version. Start today with a smile, a step, a dream, because you're worthy of it all. You've come a long way, seen through the narcissist, faced the pain, staked your ground and rediscovered yourself. But there'll be days you pause, look up at the sky and wonder, why did this all happen to me? This isn't where you'll find every answer. This is where you learn to walk among the mysteries, embracing the unknown as part of reclaiming you. Let's face it, there'll be nights you lie awake, your mind spinning with questions that echo into silence. Why did they pick you to hurt? Why do you carry scars no one can see? And sometimes the universe just responds with stillness. No flashing revelations, no voice from above. I've sat in the dark asking why someone I trusted betrayed me, and no answer came, just the sound of my own breath bouncing off the walls. But here's what you need to grasp. Not having answers doesn't mean you've failed. It doesn't mean your journey's pointless. Instead, it's a reminder that life, with all its chaos and beauty, doesn't always come wrapped in a neat formula. You're not a puzzle to solve. You're a story being written. And sometimes, the best chapters are the ones that leave question marks. And in that silence, you'll find strength. Not the strength to crush every doubt, but the strength to live with it. I used to think I needed every reason to heal. Then I realized stepping forward without answers was what made me tough. That's when I learned to get up, wipe the tears, and say, I don't need to understand it all to keep going. Why does this matter? Because reclaiming you isn't about finding a perfect map with every path drawn out. It's about navigating uncharted land, steering the wheel even when fog blurs the view. You're not weak for embracing the mystery. You're badass for refusing to let it cage you. Think of your pain as a teacher, not the gentle kind with soft lessons, but a hard-ass one, forging you through fire and flood. I used to resent the scars the narcissist left. Then I saw they weren't just marks of ruin, but proof of my endurance. You're the same. Your pain is evidence you dared to live, to love, to hope. And when you feel lost, because some days you will, hold on to this. You don't need all the answers to deserve happiness. You don't need to explain why the sky fell to rise from the wreckage. I've sat by a window, watching rain pour, wondering if my life meant anything, then decided meaning isn't in understanding everything, but in choosing to keep living each day. This is the power of embracing the mystery. It frees you from the burden of controlling it all. The narcissist wanted you to believe they were the center of your universe, that everything revolved around their game. But when you lean into the unknown, you reclaim your freedom. Freedom to live, to breathe, to be you without needing anyone to explain it. In the end, this journey isn't about decoding every question. It's about learning to dance in the rain, even when you don't know why it's falling. You don't need every answer to reclaim yourself. You just need a beating heart, moving feet, and a will that won't quit. I learned to let go of the whys to grab hold of the today, and that's when I truly found my light again. You've journeyed through seeing the narcissist, setting boundaries, and rediscovering yourself, but now it's time to dig deeper, armed with real psychological tools to heal the wounds they left behind. This isn't empty comfort, it's a hard-hitting, science-backed strategy to not just survive, but rise from the ashes of that toxic relationship. First, recognize that the damage from a narcissist isn't a scratch. It's a deep gash in your self-worth and trust. Renowned psychologist Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, said, "Trauma is not just an event that happened to you, but what it leaves inside you." The narcissist planted doubt, fear of abandonment, and a tangle of emotions, but seeing this is your first step to taking back control. So what do you do with the wreckage? Start by reframing your story. Carl Rogers, a pioneer in humanistic therapy, declared, "The moment a person understands they have inherent worth, they begin to change. The narcissist convinced you your value hinges on them. That's a lie." Grab a notebook, write down 5 things you're proud of about yourself, unrelated to them. I did this after breaking free from a toxic bond, listing times I'd overcome hardship, and for the first time in years, I felt like the hero, not the victim. And don't let those emotions fester, release them. Dr. Judith Herman, a trauma expert, stressed, recovery can only happen when you tell your story and are heard. Talk to a trusted friend, journal, or find a therapist, anything to keep those wounds from silently imprisoning you. I once bottled up what the narcissist did, scared of judgment, but when I opened up to a close friend, it was like lifting a boulder off my chest. But healing isn't just words, it's action. Rebuild trust in yourself through small, solid steps. Psychologist Albert Bandura, who coined self-efficacy, said, "Small successes build big belief." Try something you were good at but they mocked. Cook a killer meal, run or relearn a skill. I picked up my guitar again after an ex called it useless. Each note I played was a blade slicing through the ropes they tied me with. And when you're ready, forgive, but not how you think. Dr. Fred Luskin, a forgiveness expert from Stanford, defines it. Forgiveness is giving up hope of changing the past so you can live in the present. It's not absolving the narcissist, it's freeing yourself from resentment's chains. I clung to rage against someone who manipulated me, but when I let go, not for them but for me, it felt like shedding a backpack full of rocks. Keep in mind, healing's a journey, not a finish line. Brené Brown, a vulnerability researcher, said, "Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen." You don't have to be perfect right away. Just show up daily with the guts to love yourself. I used to think I had to fix myself fast, but I learned every slow step was a win. Why does this work? Because it's rooted in psychological science, not fleeting feelings. The narcissist wants you trapped in their narrative forever, but with these tools, you become your own architect. In a world that celebrates resilience and personal freedom, this is how you declare, "I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving harder than ever." In the end, believe you deserve this healing. You're not the rubble they left. You're a fire still burning, a sky still wide open. I once doubted I could recover, but as I used these steps, from journaling to releasing grudge, I didn't just find myself, I became my best self. You can too. Start today, one bold step at a time, with the strength of a warrior who never quits.